Hey everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. Okay, let me just start with something shocking. Imagine this, you've just graduated, you've got dreams of working in the US, you're all set to apply for your H-1B visa, and then bam, you're told that your company now has to pay a $100,000 fee just to file that visa for you. Yes, you heard me right. 100,000 US dollars, not a salary, not a bonus, a visa filing fee. And guess what? This is not just a rumor under Trump's new push. This is the number being floated, and if this becomes reality, it's going to shake the foundation of Indian IT companies, outsourcing firms, BPO jobs, and even thousands of students who dream of building a career in America. So, in this video, over the next couple of minutes, I want us to really go deep. I am talking about why this fee is being proposed, what it means for the TCS, Infosys, Wipro, HCL type companies, how it will hit outsourcing and call center jobs, why Indian students might suddenly find the American dream fading away, and of course, the big one, layoffs, where jobs will vanish, how quickly, and who might survive. Stick with me because this is not just about politics or policies, it's about your future, your career, your opportunities. And honestly, the next 30 minutes could change the way you look at your job pad. All right, let's start at the very beginning. Now, before we get into all the chaos, let's just step back for a second and understand what is the H-1B visa really and why is it such a big deal. So the H-1B is basically a US work visa that lets companies bring in skilled foreign workers, mostly in tech. Every year, about 85,000 visas are issued. And here's the kicker, a massive chunk of them go to Indians. We're talking like 60 to 70% of H-1Bs are grabbed by Indian IT professionals and students graduating from US universities. Why? Well, because Indian IT has been the backbone of global outsourcing for decades. Companies like Infosys, TCS, Wipro, Cognizant, they've built their entire US presence on the H-1B system. They bring Indian engineers, place them at client sites in the US, and deliver projects cheaper than hiring American engineers. That's the model. Now, enter Trump. You know his slogan, America First, and what does that mean? Well, for him, it means stop foreign workers from taking American jobs, and the H-1B visa is always the big target. In the past, we've seen Trump tighten H-1B approvals, increase scrutiny, even freeze visas for a while during his presidency. But this new move, a $100,000 fee per H-1B, that's on another level. Think about it. If Infosys wants to file 1,000 visas, do the math. That's $100 million just gone in fees, not salaries, not infrastructure, just a cost of doing business. So now the question is, why would Trump do this? And the answer is actually pretty simple. Number one, it discourages companies from bringing workers from India. Number two, it pushes companies to hire Americans instead. And number three, let's be honest, it's also politics. It plays well with voters who feel their jobs are being stolen by immigrants. But the bigger question is, does this mean for you, for Indian EIT employees, students, outsourcing jobs? That's where things get scary. Let's break it down. So, what does this $100,000 H-1B visa fee really mean in practical terms? Well, here's the official picture as it's being discussed. Companies filing for H-1B visas would need to pay this fee per worker. The fee is non-refundable even if the visa is denied. It's on top of the existing filing fees, which already run into a few $1,000s. Now, let's think from a company's perspective. Suppose Infosys wants to place 500 engineers in the US right now. Normally, they'd pay maybe $2,000 to $4,000 per visa, manageable. But now, suddenly, they are asked to cough up $100,000 for each. That's a massive jump. So, what will Infosys do? Option 1, reduce the number of H-1B filings drastically. Instead of sending 500 engineers, maybe send 50. Option 2, shift work back to India or to cheaper nearshore countries like Mexico, Canada, or Poland. Option 3, raise prices for US clients, which could make them less competitive. And who suffers in all this? Well, first, the Indian IT worker who was hoping to get on site opportunities, that dream started to fade. Second, the student in the US who thought an H-1B was their ticket to stay, suddenly companies don't want to sponsor them. And third, the clients themselves, because now projects get delayed, costs go up, and they lose flexibility. But here's the really scary part: this fee is not just about discouraging visas, it's about sending a message. We don't want outsourcing, we want jobs to stay in America. So, if this goes through, we're going to see a complete reshaping of the outsourcing industry. And honestly, we'll probably see layoffs both in the US and in India because companies will have to restructure, cut costs, and maybe even pull out of certain markets. No, don't panic yet. We're just getting started. In the next section, I'm going to break down how exactly this impacts Indian IT companies, outsourcing jobs, and Indian students. We're talking about Infosys, Wipro, call centers, even fresh graduates. It's going to get very real. So take a deep breath, grab a cup of chai or coffee, and then let's continue. All right, so let's get into the meat of it now. What does this massive $100,000 H-1B visa fee mean for Indian IT companies? We are talking about the big four: Infosys, TCS, Wipro, HCL, plus others like Tech Mahindra, Cognizant, L&T Infotech. These companies depend heavily on the US market. In fact, for most of them, 50 to 60% of revenue comes from US clients, that's billions of dollars. Now, their entire model is built on what? Sending Indian engineers on H-1B visas to US client locations. These engineers work on site, manage projects, interact with American clients directly. That's how they deliver cost savings and efficiency. But when you slap a $100,000 price tag on every H-1B, that model collapses. Let me give you an example. Say Infosys has 10,000 employees on H-1Bs in the US. If they had to file new visas or even renewals, we're talking billions of dollars in fees. That's unsustainable. So, what's the likely reaction? First, they'll slash the number of H-1B filings. Maybe they'll only send a few top level experts on site and keep the rest in India. Second, they'll push for remote work. With video calls, cloud systems, and AI tools, they might say, hey, why do we need so many people physically in the US? Third, they might shift projects to other countries. For example, Canada has more open immigration policies. Mexico is closer to the US. Eastern Europe is cheaper and skilled. So we might see a redistribution of outsourcing. And here's where it hurts. When Indian companies cut down H-1Bs, Indian engineers lose on site opportunities. And for many of us, that's not just about money, it's about exposure, growth, better lifestyle, sometimes even permanent residency. That dream could vanish. But wait, it gets worse because when companies spend billions on visa fees, they'll have to recover that money somewhere. And where do they cut costs? Employee salaries, bonuses, hiring plans. So don't be surprised if the next step is hiring freezes in India, reduced campus placements, delayed promotions, and yes, layoffs. And this is not just theory, we've seen it before. Back in 2017, when Trump first tightened H-1B rules, Indian IT stocks crashed, hiring slowed, and companies started looking for alternatives. This $100,000 fee is like that on steroids. Okay, but it's not just ET companies. Let's talk about outsourcing and BPO jobs too. So think about the call center industry, BPO jobs, customer support, back office processing, accounting, HR outsourcing, all of that. Now, these industries depend on US clients outsourcing work to India. Why? Because it's cheaper. Labor in India costs a fraction of US salaries. But here's the twist. When US companies feel the heat from Trump's policies, they might say, look, outsourcing is risky now. Let's just bring more jobs back home, even if it costs more. And when that happens, Indian BPO companies could lose contracts. That means fewer jobs, slower growth, maybe even shutdowns in smaller outsourcing firms. Already, we've seen how automation and AI are eating into BPO jobs, chatbots replacing customer service agents, RPA handling routine tasks. Add this visa fee drama, and the pressure just doubles. So, bottom line, BPO workers in India, they'll also feel the shockwaves. And now, let's talk about students. Thousands of Indian students go to the US every year, paying massive tuition fees, $30,000, $40,000, sometimes even $60,000 per year. And they do it because they believe they can get an H-1B job after graduation, recover the cost, and build a career in America. But if companies are suddenly asked to pay $100,000 for every H-1B, do you think they'll be lining up to hire fresh grads from India? No way. They'll prefer either hiring local American graduates or simply not hiring at all. That means fewer opportunities for Indian students. Many might be forced to return home after graduation, jobless and in debt. And honestly, okay, that's heartbreaking because these students don't just invest money, they invest hope, energy, years of their life. This policy, if it really becomes reality, could crush that dream. And I'm not exaggerating, it could lead to a decline in the number of Indians going to the US for studies because the return on investment just won't make sense anymore. So, when you look at the big picture, the IT giants, the outsourcing firms, the call centers, the fresh graduates, everyone gets hit, some directly, some indirectly. But nobody escapes untouched. And we are only halfway through the story because we haven't even touched the big scary word yet, layoffs. In the next part, I want to talk about how this policy could trigger layoffs, how jobs might shift globally, and what skills you need to survive this storm. Okay, let's get to the part that everyone's worried about. The big scary word, layoffs. Now, here's the reality. When a huge policy change like this happens, companies don't just sit still, they react. And unfortunately, that reaction often means cutting jobs. Why? Because costs go up. And when costs go up, companies look for savings. And the easiest way to save money, fewer employees. So here's what I see happening if this $100,000 H-1B fee goes through. First, on-site jobs in the US shrink. Companies won't sponsor as many visas. That means fewer Indians in US projects. Some who are already on site may not get extensions and they'll have to return to India. Second, offshore teams in India will face pressure. Why? Because when revenue shrinks, companies will start cutting costs in India too. Maybe freeze hiring, delay salary hikes, reduce campus placements. Third, project cancellations. Some US clients might say, hey, this is too expensive. Let's just cancel or delay our outsourcing project. That translates directly into layoffs in India. And here's the dangerous ripple effect. Once layoffs start, confidence drops, employees panic, clients panic, even investors panic, stock prices of IT companies fall, and then management doubles down on cost cutting. It becomes a vicious cycle. And I want to be very clear, this won't just affect senior employees, it'll hit freshers too. Because if there are fewer projects, companies won't go to campuses and hire in bulk. We might see hiring numbers fall drastically, maybe even to half of what they used to be. Now, before you get too anxious, let me also say this, layoffs don't mean the end of the road, they mean change. And with change comes opportunity. But we'll get to survival strategies in a minute. Now, let's zoom out and look at the bigger picture. If the US becomes too expensive for Indian IT companies, where do they go? Well, a few places come to mind. Canada, they've been aggressively attracting tech talent with easier visa rules. Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, they're becoming mini tech hubs. Mexico, super close to the US, similar time zones, cheaper labor. American companies love nearshoring there. Eastern Europe, Poland, Romania, Ukraine, they've got skilled tech workers at lower costs. Many companies already use them as backup hubs. So, what does that mean for India? Well, it means competition. For years, India has been the king of outsourcing, but now with this H-1B fee, companies might say, let's diversify, let's put some work in Canada, some in Mexico, some in Eastern Europe. India won't lose, everything, but it might lose a chunk of the pie, and that chunk could mean fewer jobs, slower growth, and less bargaining power for Indian IT firms. And let's not forget one more competitor, automation. With AI, cloud computing, and robotic process automation, many routine IT and BPO jobs are already being replaced. Add this visa fee drama, and companies will say, forget hiring humans, let's just invest more in automation. So it's not just about Trump versus India, it's about India versus Canada, India versus Mexico, India versus robots. And honestly, that's a scary thought. All right, now that I've scared you enough, let's talk solutions. Because here's the thing, policies will come and go, leaders will change, visa rules will tighten and relax. But one thing will always protect you, skills. If you want to survive, even thrive in this new world, you need to focus on three areas. Reskilling, don't just stick to the basics of coding or testing, move into future proof areas, artificial intelligence and machine learning, cloud computing, AWS, Azure, GCP, cybersecurity, data science and analytics, DevOps and automation. These are skills that are in demand globally, not just in the US, but everywhere. Remote work opportunities. Companies are now open to remote teams. You don't need an H-1B to work for a US company anymore. You just need skills and good internet. Platforms like TopTal, Upwork, Freelancer, Fiverr, they connect skilled professionals directly with global clients, build your portfolio, and you can earn in dollars while sitting in Bangalore, Hyderabad, or Pune. The global gig economy. The old dream was go to the US, work on site, settle down. The new dream is work globally from anywhere. Maybe one project is from the US, another from Europe, another from the Middle East. Build multiple income streams and don't depend on just one employer. And let me add one more thing, networking and visibility. Don't hide in the background, put your skills out there, write on LinkedIn, share your projects on GitHub, build a personal brand. Because in a world where visas are expensive, companies will still look for the best talent, and if you stand out, they'll find a way to work with you. So the bottom line is this, don't sit and cry about H-1B fees. Yes, it's a problem, but it's also a wake up call, a reminder that we need to build skills that travel with us, skills that don't need a visa stamp. That's how you survive. Now, we've covered layoffs, job shifts, and strategies. In the final part, let's talk about the long term outlook. Will India lose its IT crown? Will students stop going to the US? And what should you, as an individual, really focus on over the next 5 to 10 years? We'll also do a little Q&A style engagement, asking the kind of questions you're probably already thinking about. And finally, we'll close with some motivation because trust me, this is not the end of the road. So stick around, the final stretch is coming up. So let's take a step back and look at the long term picture beyond the panic, beyond the headlines. First, India's IT industry won't vanish overnight. TCS, Infosys, Wipro, they are huge, resilient companies. But here's the reality, their growth model will need to adapt. The US market will still be important, but companies might reduce on site deployments drastically, increase remote delivery from India, diversify to other countries, Canada, Mexico, Eastern Europe, invest in automation and AI to cut dependency on human labor. So, the American dream for Indian IT professionals, it may not disappear entirely, but it will shrink. Only the most skilled, versatile, and adaptive professionals will get opportunities. Now, students, if you're an Indian student planning to study in the US, you need to think strategically. Don't go just for the H-1B route. Think global opportunities, remote internships, freelancing, global projects. Consider countries with easier post-study work options, Canada, Germany, Australia. Focus on skills that companies value regardless of location. AI, cloud, cybersecurity, product management, full stack development. The key takeaway, adaptability is more valuable than any visa. The world is shifting, and the people who survive will be the ones who can work anywhere for anyone and deliver results. All right, now I know some of you are probably asking these questions in your head, so let me answer them. Will I lose my job if I'm already in the US? Possibly if your visa is up for renewal and your company can't justify the $100,000 cost. But don't panic. If you're in a critical role or highly skilled, companies may make exceptions. Should I cancel my plans to study in the US? Not necessarily, but definitely have a backup plan. Focus on global skill, remote opportunities, or countries with easier work permit pathways. Does this mean all Indian IT companies will suffer? Number companies with strong automation, cloud, and remote delivery models will survive, others may need to restructure. What about layoffs in India? Yes, some layoffs are possible, especially in non critical or junior roles, but this is also a chance for professionals to upskill, reskill, and move into emerging domains. So the important thing is don't just wait for policies to decide your future. Take action, learn new skills, build a global mindset, and think beyond borders. All right, we've come a long way. Let's recap quickly. Trump's proposed $100,000 H-1B visa fee is huge and will affect Indian IT, outsourcing, BPO jobs, and students. Companies will cut costs, reduce on-site visas, and possibly lay off employees. Outsourcing may shift to other countries, automation will accelerate, and opportunities for fresh graduates may decline. But here's the silver lining: skilled, adaptable professionals will always find opportunities. Remote work, freelancing, global projects, these are all paths to success. And students focus on the skills, not just visas, build expertise that it travels with you. The world is changing it fast, policies, visas, companies, they're all temporary, but your skills, adaptability, and mindset, those are permanent. So, my message to you is simple: don't panic, don't wait, and don't give up. Adapt, reskill, and seize opportunities globally. And hey, if this video helped you understand the big picture, if it made you think about your career differently, then do me a favor. Like and share and subscribe and comment below. What do you think will happen with H-1Bs? Will you change your plans? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for sticking around for the full video. Stay smart, stay adaptable, and I'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the upcoming career talk.